Hi guys, Ryan Fowler with Inner Masculine Live. Hope you all are doing well today. I see there's already some guys in the house watching. P-Dub, salute back to you. Eston K, working, so replay gang. All right, man, that's all good. You can watch it later, no problem at all. We have a great show for you today, very important topic. And we have a case study to actually show you the effect of what happens when you use inner child work effectively. Yes, we're talking about inner child work today. We're going to explain what it is. We have a video that explains what it is. I'm going to give of course, my own additional explanation. Almost every session I do does inner child work. And we'll go into the whys in just a moment. But first, I want to let you guys know, as you can see, bottom left, innermasculine.com free ebook coming out in about a week is my free ebook. You just go to innermasculine.com free ebook. And I'll just show you real quick what's going to be in it. Here's a table of contents here. I'm going to show you the blueprint, the foundation, the fundamentals of how your subconscious mind works, how subconscious programs develop. We're focused, of course, on the things that affect your behavior, your breathing and heart rate. That's subconscious as well. We're not focused on that. We're focused on how your subconscious mind develops, what subconscious programs are that affect your behavior, how your subconscious influences you. Everyone's heard about our subconscious. Most people know it's very important. The father of modern psychotherapy, Carl Jung, said, until you make the subconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And so many people go through life wondering why they struggle. They have no idea. They don't know that our subconscious directs 95% of our behavior. This is going to show you what's really going on under the hood. We're going to talk about not only how the subconscious works and what a subconscious program is, how it affects you as adults, but we're going to talk about 5 core subconscious traumas. This is what I fix all day, every day. I get the bad trauma out. It's a belief that doesn't serve you, tied to a painful emotion. That's subconscious trauma. Toxic shame, not belonging or fitting in. Toxic shame, I'm not good enough. Some sort of belief and feeling along those ways. You cannot get what you want. Lack of belief in your ability. Unresolved anger, resentment, bitterness, and rage can cause all sorts of problems. A lot of guys end up in jail if that is too severe for them. You don't feel safe. That keeps you from going out taking risks. Toxic shame does too, actually, even more so. Keeps you from taking risks, and if you don't take risks in life, you're not going to get what you want. We got to take risks. We got to learn and grow. That's where all the big prizes are. When you take risks, you fail, you learn something, you keep going, you fail, you learn something, then you succeed. Now you're having bigger success than the average guy because you took the journey the average guy isn't willing to take. But a lot of people can't do that when their subconscious mind is messed up. And most people have at least some bad subconscious programs that are significantly messing them up, holding them back. So avoiding pain, staying safe, pursuing pleasure, what's up with procrastination, what's up with limiting beliefs, what's up with self-sabotage. It's all going to be laid out for you guys. So just go to innermasculine.com free ebook, get on the waiting list, put your email in, and rock and roll. When it's done, you're going to get it. And so now we're going to go on to this topic. I'm kind of surprised I didn't think of presenting it earlier. What is inner child work? So, because pretty much every session I do does it. Like 99% of the sessions I do, if not 100%, do inner child work is part of it. So, and it sounds pretty woo, right? Oh, what is this inner child in me? I'm an adult now, So I'll explain. There's actually a technical scientific explanation for it, and I'm going to give you the lowdown right now. So when we are born into this world, we don't know anything. So as babies and children, we are observing the world around us and we're interpreting everything and we're drawing conclusions, interpretations, beliefs about what everything means in the world around us. These become subconscious programs. And by age 8, 75% of your subconscious programs are formed. By age 14, 95% are formed. These, when we're younger, our subconscious mind is like soft clay, but the clay hardens. By age 14, 15, it's just all hardened. You just have these discrete, static subconscious programs in your mind, down in your subconscious, and it dictates 95% of our behavior throughout our life. So what the inner child is is if you drew a conclusion, formed a belief, a subconscious program, say at age 6, that program is in you running the rest of your life. Most people go through their entire lives with most or all of their subconscious programs unchanged. You can do normal therapy and partially change some of these programs partially over a long period of time. It's very inefficient compared to some of the other methodologies. You can do things like EMDR, psychedelics, what I do, hypnosis. Hypnosis has the effect of not only fixing bad subconscious programs, getting those out, but putting the best ones in. And inner child work is a big part of that. We call it inner child work because if you formed a belief at age 6 that's influencing you at age 50 or 40 or 30 or 60, which is how it works. This is so well established. There's so much data and science on this. It's ridiculous. So if you doubt this, it's because you're ignorant. At age 6, you form that belief. That's from the perspective of a 6-year-old. You form another subconscious program at age 3. That's from the perspective of a 3-year-old. You form a subconscious program at age 10. That's from the perspective of a 10-year-old. So we have these programs in us that are tied to the age the program was formed at, 3, 8, 6, 8, 10. And a lot of these subconscious programs, some people are way more traumatized than others. There's a few fortunate people who have very few bad subconscious programs. They had a really healthy upbringing. They had parents who love them unconditionally, let them explore while giving them guidance and when needed discipline, but still letting them know they were enough just as they were, etc. For most of us, we have bad subconscious programs and trauma tied to these early ages. So you have to go back to that version of you who formed that belief and has that pain from age 6, from age 8, 10, 3, 2, 14, whatever. That's your inner child. These subconscious beliefs are literally tied to these young ages. They are emotions tied to beliefs from the perspective of whatever age you were when that happened. So inner child work is, these wounded parts, they are often tied to not feeling love, not feeling like we're good enough, not believing that we have any value or any ability. I'm just going to fail, so why even try? Maybe at age 8, you drew that conclusion. So we have to go back to and heal those parts. Now, there's 2 methods I use. The overall formula, inner child work by itself, it's incredibly important to do, but by itself, it is not complete. So the formula I use, and this is why, listen, if you go to the video section of my YouTube channel, I got 7 testimonials up. If you dig through the live section, there's like another 8 or 9 testimonials. I'm going to do another one today. I got receipts out the wazoo. I have another 10 audio interviews. I'll probably put at least a few of them up here. I got a couple more video interviews to put up. I have like 30 written testimonials. Most clients, because it's personal, don't want to share their stuff, and I don't pressure them. But some are like, wow, you changed my life. I want to get this message out. So I'm doing another interview today, post-session interview. We did inner child work for this guy. We're going to talk about that. It's really life-changing. You do want to understand where a lot of other methodologies fall short. Number 1, this is the biggest failing of cognitive behavioral therapy. They work up here on your logical cognitive mind. They're trying to influence your subconscious through your cognitive mind. It's like they're working on the wrong part of an engine. It's all connected. It'll sooner or later get down there, at least partially. But I'd say the 2 greatest things I do in very, very, very broad strokes is, number 1, we change your state to bring your subconscious mind to the forefront, quiet down the conscious mind, the logical mind, the cognitive mind, so we can actually work directly on the trauma in your subconscious, in your body, in your subconscious. We change your state, bring that to the surface where we can work on that directly. That's a really big thing I do. Number 2 is we actually get the bad programs out before we put the good ones in. So inner child work, how most people identify with it is, most professionals, is it's putting good stuff in. It's giving you the love, support, validation, anything else, any other kind of good parenting that you didn't get as a child, you are giving it to yourself when you do inner child work. But you do want to understand, if all you do is inner child work and you don't actually address the bad subconscious programs by getting them out before you put this good in, then it can still be very, very helpful, but it's way more helpful if you get the bad out, resolve the trapped trauma in your body, these bad beliefs, and then you put the good beliefs in, then you do the love and all of that. Some of my clients will say, hey, someone gives me a compliment, I'm like, I can't take credit. I'm like, no, that's not really me. Some people say, I stand in front of the mirror, I say these affirmations that I'm a great person, etc. It rings hollow. Why does it ring hollow? Why can't they take the compliments? Because they have conflicting bad programs telling them that's not true. So those bad programs we get out first, and then once we do that, then they say these affirmations like, oh, I really feel good now. So I want you to understand that process. So inner child work is kind of like the second half. It's putting good stuff in, but it is still a core part to what I do. Other people who don't get as good results with it, that's generally why they don't get you into a state where your subconscious is receptive and they don't get the bad out first. But inner child, a lot of people do inner child work, a lot of professionals. That's why many of them are less effective, just so you know. But I'm going to play a video clip on inner child work so you guys will understand more about it. I'll comment here and there, and then I'm going to show you an actual case study from a video case, interview with a guy where we did that, and it rocked his world. And I kept in touch with this guy, like almost all of my clients, not all, but almost all, permanent benefit. One session, permanent benefit. Doesn't mean we get you all the way better. Some guys come to me, they're really messed up. They need 3 sessions, 2, 5, 6. And they need to do a lot of self-hypnosis, but still generally 1 session, permanent, noticeable benefit. And that's why I do 5-6 hour sessions, because I want you to forever be better after that session. And not all the time, but almost all the time I achieve that goal. So without further ado, let me add this in. We're going to take a look at this. It's a 5-minute video, but it pretty succinctly describes what your wounded inner child is and how you can do inner child work, at least in broad strokes. So it gives a good foundation for us to look at. So here we go. Psych2Go, very, very popular channel. I'd subscribe to it if I were you guys. They have
Hi, Psych2Goers. Have you ever paid attention
to
your inner voice? You know, that little voice inside of you that reminds you of your younger self? No matter how old you are, you carry a younger version of yourself within you, which is also known as your inner child. Your inner child is an extremely important and large part of who you are, how you deal with emotions, and your own programming and beliefs as an adult. The things that have affected you as a child may manifest themselves in adulthood. If you were taught that love was
it's not may, it's will. It's only a matter of time. Some stuff lies dormant until triggered, but sooner or later, bad subconscious programs in your childhood, if not manifesting throughout your life, tend to sooner or later manifest at some point.
Is something to be earned, then you may stay in an unhealthy relationship or environment as an adult because you don't believe that you deserve healthy and nurturing love. So, to help you heal from some of the wounds you may have had as a child, here are 5 things your inner child needs to hear right now. Number 1, it's okay to have feelings and to express them. As a child, you may not have had authority figures that placed importance on your emotions and feelings. The only thing that may have mattered was that you were fed, clothed, and had a roof over your head. Therefore, any kind of honest emotional display may have been seen as a challenge to their rule, which could result in getting your feelings hurt. Growing up in this kind of environment can create a belief that your emotions are irrelevant, that they should not be expressed, and that it will only inspire anger in others. This cycle of shame may continue into adulthood, where you become unable to express your own anger and sadness in fear of being ridiculed. For this reason, it's important you now create a safe space for yourself where you can express, acknowledge, and accept how you feel. 2.
Okay, I'm going to give the masculine perspective here because I do think the way that's shared, it's very useful, but to me, it's a more feminine perspective. Everything this lady said is true, but I want to kind of take it from the men's point of view. So last Saturday, I just did a show on stoicism with me and I think 4 of my friends who are all psychotherapists at this point, hypnotherapists, not psychotherapists. And Here's the thing. I've had clients, combat vets, veterans from the military. And they say in the military, they literally say F your feelings. And then they never resolve stuff. And the thing about stoicism is, as a man, there are times where you just ignore your feelings and get crap done. I think there are times you just got to do that. You can't fall apart. You can't sit down and do a safe space. You have shit to do. You do it. But eventually you have to be able to resolve stuff. And if you have emotions in you, if you just bottom them up, push them down, pretend like they're not there, like they don't matter, it's not a coincidence that they have this it's not necessarily the military's perspective, but the perspective of the culture among, unless enlisted combat personnel. It's more that, to draw that distinction. But it's not a coincidence that they're like, just ignore all this stuff, push it down, drink booze, whatever, pretend it's not there, F it. And then they have 20 to 22 self-deletions per day. I mean, come on. Obviously, there's massive issues if you never express your emotions. And a lot of, so if you listen to there's some red pill coaches and they're like, oh, feelings don't matter. I do the work regardless of what I feel. And it's like, well, yeah, you should do the work regardless of what you feel. But if you never address things, if you never express stuff, it is going to cause massive problems. And see, for those of you, I think a lot of you guys listening know my background, but very traumatic upbringing, massive, very bad depression with mania, some manic depression. Depression was more pronounced for sure. General anxiety disorder, complex PTSD, just all sorts of issues. I fixed it all. And I'm doing stuff that a lot of guys are too chicken to do. I've moved to another country. I'm learning another language. I've started 4 businesses now. One of them failed. I failed at it. It's a long time ago. Keep going. But because I'm taking these risks, I'm living a really good life. High income. I'm my own boss. I can live anywhere in the world. I can work anywhere in the world. I have the dating life I want because I'm in a country where it's way easier to date high quality. There's actually high quality women here. There are high quality women in the United States, but there's a far smaller number of them. And I mean high quality for relationships. There's plenty of women who are very capable at their career. You can find plenty of those in the United States. But when it comes to relationships, so that's why I'm here. And they say it's a cap. It's like, well, I regularly got women who were 7s, 8s in the United States. So I was successful there. But it's just the grass is greener here. So, but you got to be willing to take risks. You got to have a certain amount of mental toughness, mental fortitude to keep on going. After my first business failed, kept going. Gave up my $190,000 a year job to do this now. That's fine. I'll eventually make more money with this. It doesn't matter. But that all takes mental toughness, mental fortitude. Why can I do that? Because I'll tell you, before, 12 years ago, before I cleared any of my stuff, I just had anxiety all the time and it kept me small. Like, I had problems going up and prepping my a swamp cooler for the summer to keep I'd be scared of that. It would just drain and take so much energy. And I was actually trying to run away from a lot of these feelings. So here's a masculine perspective. A real man, or let's say an emotionally healthy man, because we're all men, we're all real men, but an emotionally healthy man does not ignore his emotions. He masters them. I'll say it again, very important. An emotionally healthy man does not ignore his emotions. He masters them. That gives him power. It makes him just resilient, tough, strong, and without any long-term bad side effects. You do see a lot of military personnel, maybe they don't self-delete, but they're alcoholics. They get divorced. They beat their wife and kids. I'm not saying that's all military by any means, but they got issues. And again, I'm not saying all of them, but those who have been in them, I've had clients, hardcore combat vets, they'll tell you this. So stuffing down your feelings, not expressing them ever, not resolving this stuff ever, horrible idea. So I wanted to give you the masculine perspective here, because we do have to deal there is an evolutionary reason we have emotions. Emotions have purpose, and like it or not, they are dictating a vast amount of your behavior, whether you acknowledge that or not. They just do. It's so for those of you guys, oh, just do the work, ignore your feelings. Yeah, bullshit. I call bullshit right now. All right, let's keep going. I see the clients who try and do that and what it does to them. Trust me. We'll keep going.
You are safe. Did you move around a lot as a kid? If so, you may have experienced a lot of anxiety and worry about going to new places or about not knowing when or why you were moving. Even if you were around your family or guardians, you may have still felt alone, unsafe, and unprotected because of the uncertainty of where you were going to stay. While not all of your issues regarding safety may come from the physical, the main focus is that your inner child needs to feel safe. Having a place that won't change or where you have a say on where you're going to go provides stability and a sense of security. Sometimes because of the lack of defense from the outside, you may find yourself needing to find safety in routines, hobbies, health practices, and your own emotions. When you tell yourself that you're safe, you're also reminding yourself that you're worthy of protection. Number 3, it's not your fault when other people are in a bad mood. Children don't really have the cognitive ability to self-regulate or be aware of emotional boundaries. When something happens to you as a child, you may internalize it. So if someone, especially any authority,
To internalize it is a lot of times you blame yourself, or you think you had something to do with it, among other things, or you just take this toxic behavior that you observed and you adopt it.
figure was mean or lashed out, you may have believed that it was your fault for being bad. This belief is harmful because it leads to a type of thinking that other people's emotions are your responsibility and that you must tread lightly around them because of it. And when you form a habit of walking on eggshells around people's feelings, it leads to people-pleasing tendencies. You go along to get along because you're afraid to be known as someone who hurts people's feelings, but it can also lead to a lack of identity and sense of self.
Now, by the way, in dysfunctional families, toxic families, this could be the best route of survival as a child. But what happens is these behaviors and beliefs get in your psyche, and now you're an adult and you're in a different situation. You're no longer a child, but you still have these programs you needed to help you as a child. Again, I mean, thinking things are your fault, that's not helpful, but people pleasing, whatever, to appease toxic parents or whatever. Yeah, it may have helped you survive as a kid, but as an adult, yeah, it causes problems. I mean, a people pleaser trying to be successful with women, a lot of women are turned off by that. So we're going to heal this stuff that may have helped you survive as a kid, or the stuff where you just didn't understand things right as a child. Now you're messed up thinking things are your fault that are not your fault, thinking you're not good enough, toxic shame, etc. Inner child work is a big part of healing that.
As you heal your inner child, learning about emotional boundaries and when responsibility starts and ends is a great tool for self-confidence.
Emotional boundaries is key to holding frame. Holding frame, very masculine concept. If you don't get this stuff right, it's very hard to hold boundaries. It's very hard to, women shit test men. Is this a real man? Is this the guy I'm really interested in? Is he just a faker? I'm not sure. I'm going to shit test him. I used to know what shit tests were. Women kind of seeing what a guy's made of, kind of giving him a little dig or low-level criticism and seeing how the guy handles it. I used to know what they were, but because of my insecurities in me, I would still fail these tests. Now I generally just don't care. I'm like, whatever, because I don't have the insecurities. Doing inner child work gets rid of these insecurities, among other things. And so you can hold frame, when you realize, hey, I don't need this girl to be good enough. I'm in abundance. I can get another one. For me, it's like I would rather lose the girl than lose my self-respect. And that's so deeply ingrained in me now. That's why I hold frame. I'm like, here's what I want to do. If you want to do it with me, great. If it's not a fit, that's okay. But I'm going to do what I want to do, and I would love for you to accompany me. I'm not going to, give in to your, what you want to do. I want to go to one restaurant. She tries to get me to go to another. That's literally losing frame. And women actually, I've had women do that and then they ghost me. I mean, it's ridiculous. So And then I felt really disrespected. I felt they disrespected me, and it's like, yeah, but I let it happen. I'd rather keep framing loser than let her have her way and then lose her because she thinks I'm weak or whatever. She's like, oh, now I'm the leader, not him. And that's just not the masculine feminine dynamic that women find attractive. Women want a strong leader. So you get these insecurities out you get to the point where it's, I don't need this woman. I'll need to please her. She's great. If she does what if we're doing an activity I enjoy and she happens to enjoy it too, great. If she's really into me, great. If not, I'll find someone who is. That's the relationship I want. I don't want to be in a relationship with someone who's calling the shots, who's taking the leader position, who's doing what she wants, and I don't get what I want. Screw that. When you have these insecurities eliminated and just deep down value yourself, you hold frame. You hold frame and you're in abundance. And this is actually really key to a very masculine trait, which is being a leader, holding frame. This is all this stuff makes you so much stronger. So it sounds woohoo, but I've done it and a lot of my clients have done it, and then they just become way more alpha. I mean, that's just how it is. I'm showing you the guys the keys to getting an alpha mindset, just deep down, genuine confidence, eliminating those insecurities. So my attitude is, I don't care how dumb or woohoo or whatever anything sounds. If there's proof it works, I'm going to do it. So that's the camp I'm in. So we'll keep going.
And self-validation. Number 4, I hear you and I see you. Did you feel invisible as a child? If your childhood involved conditional love, emotional manipulation tactics, and a disregard for the individual, then you may have been taught that you must prove that you're worthy of love by performing in a certain way. Feeling invisible to the people who love you and who are supposed to love you can be heartbreaking, especially when you were a child, since you may not understand why it's happening and believe that it's because there's something wrong with you. So, to heal from feeling unseen and unheard, you must acknowledge and accept how certain memories affected and still affect you, and learn to value your own opinions and thoughts, and be more encouraging to your younger self. And number 5.
You hear that? Valuing your own opinions and thoughts. When you do, you become alpha. You become a leader. You become more confident, secure, strong.
Love you. Did your loved ones tell you that they loved you when you were young? You might have never heard that phrase directed at you before as a child, or you might have, but it came with some condition or favor. Perhaps they'd say things like, you know I love you, right? So can you please go and do this for me? Not having been told that you're loved unconditionally by your guardians or parents, or having been raised in an environment where emotions were seen as weakness, can make any child feel like they aren't lovable or worthy of love. This is why it's important to show that inner child love and to say it out loud. It probably will feel uncomfortable and silly at first. It may seem like you're lying to yourself at first, but over time, you may start to feel a little more comfortable about it and become more okay with the concept of loving yourself.
So they say over time, well, that's the thing, is they're using these techniques where they're not directly working on the subconscious. They're not putting the subconscious mind in a state where it's receptive. So it takes a lot longer. So like I said earlier, there's two things. Inner child work, it's a great technique, but there's two things that keep it from being more effective. And I make sure I don't make these mistakes. I do it right. Get yourself in a state where your subconscious is receptive to being changed quickly and deeply, and then get the bad trauma out first, and then put in the good love, validation, approval, all that stuff you didn't get as a child. And then it can actually happen pretty quickly. And guess what? I got a case study. I got a video interview right after this with the client, right after his session. We did inner child work. He's going to mention it and talk about how when you do things the right way, this can be very quick. It can be one session. Again, I'm not saying I cure your entire psyche in one session, but you can get big results in one session. I do it all the time. Doesn't have to take slowly over time. That's the old technology. That's the old talk therapy these guys are talking about. And, honestly, they should update their system, because I'm not the only one. I think I'm one of a few doing it at a high level, at a very high level. There's not nearly enough people doing that. There's a small number doing things at a very high level, but a lot of people are waking up as to how our subconscious really works, how trauma, like subconscious trauma really works. There's PhD neuroscientists, PhD, doctorate psychotherapists, PsyD, etc. They're starting to figure this out. They're catching up slowly.
Additionally, your inner child needs and deserves to be reminded of your love. Did you find this video helpful? Let us know in the comments below. Also,
all right, so long story short, inner child work gives you all the love, guidance, support, approval, unconditional love, belief in your ability and value that was not given to you as a child, or not given to you sufficiently. And you are basically, if you don't have, now a lot of parents try their best, but they got their own trauma. They got their own subconscious programs. And because of that, they are less than perfect parents. We're all human. And some are just downright, doing horrible stuff. I mean, it's on a spectrum. Inner child work goes back to these wounded parts of you, these subconscious beliefs that formed at age 6, at age 3, at age 2, at age 10, 12, that are ruling 95% of your behavior and will stay that way until the day you die. This is just neuroscience. This is just how it is. There's a ridiculous amount of scientific data to back this up. You literally go back and give yourself all the love you didn't get back then, all the support, guidance, etc. And you heal that part, and it heals you. And so I'll just go through some of these comments. Yeah, well, having a healthy inner child makes you more manly. It really does. It gives you BDE, big dick energy. It gives you genuine, authentic confidence. When you get your inner world fixed, I've experienced this. I was a virgin till I was 30, guys. Now, some of that was because my religion, and honestly, I struggled with women. I didn't really I'm 49 now. I really started having success at 45. I healed my inner world around age 38, and I was still kind of doing the blue pill dating. I healed my core identity, but my game was terrible. I hadn't, basically my game was terrible, and my bad subconscious programs in connection to dating and relationships, I didn't heal them until probably age 44, actually. And then I really, because like I said, my manic depression at age 38, within 2 months, gone forever. And I was actually happy. And I had this negative voice in my head constantly accusing me of doing things wrong. I internalized that because my mom did that. It was internalized into me. It took me 6 months, but 15 years of therapy didn't fix that. It took me a while to figure out how to use self-hypnosis to cure anxiety. Once I did, my anxiety went within a few months, but it took 2 years for that. But again, 15 years of therapy didn't do anything. And then once I figured it out, a few months gone, permanently, I don't have anxiety anymore. Rarely, healthy anxiety. Every now and then you should have anxiety. Anxiety can serve you when there's actual danger or there's something you actually shouldn't do. But my anxiety way down. So fixed all these things. And what happened is at age 38, probably by age 40, I was like, why am I dating these women? I don't need women to validate me. I can validate myself. So I just stopped dating for a while, went MGTOW for a while, maybe age 40, 41. Age 44, it's like, you know what? Men and women are supposed to be together. I'm going to figure this woman thing out. Clear these subconscious programs, and got rid of all these insecurities tied to women and dating. And I had a lot. But I got rid of them. Probably took me, I don't know, a year. And then what I noticed is after, and a lot of this is inner child work, healing these I've given myself the love my mom didn't give me. And it just, all these insecurities were replaced with confidence. If a woman rejects me, I literally feel nothing. If a woman rejects me now, I feel nothing. I feel neutral. I'm like, okay. Or at worst, if it's a day game approach, I might feel a tiny bit awkward for a minute, 2, 3 out of 10. And then I'm like, my life is great. And I just go on, So before, devastating, absolutely devastating. But what happens is when you cure your internal world, what I noticed from my own experience is you get authentic confidence. Your sexual market value goes up a full point. If you were a 7 before, now you're an 8 just by fixing this part of your inner game. And inner child work, giving yourself if you have unconditional love, then if a woman rejects you, it doesn't matter because you're still worthy of love. Does that make sense? And so the sting of being rejected by a woman is gone. You don't need a woman for validation because you already give yourself all the validation you need. You already have all the validation you need. That's what inner child work does. And then a woman's like, damn, this guy has some balls. Damn, there's something about this guy. Damn, this guy's energy is good. I mean, they just pick up on this stuff and it makes you like more attractive to them. I got receipts, man. You know, I'm doing really good now. Inner child work is key to success with women because it'll give you that big dick energy that women find really attractive. You got to do it for, you know, you can get in some initial changes quickly, but, you know, I had probably over 24 bad subconscious programs I had to fix because just pervasive, dysfunctional, toxic childhood abuse. That's okay. Each one I fixed, my life got better and better and better. And inner child work, I mean, pretty much every session I did on myself and I do on others involves inner child work, giving you that love you need. So healing your inner child, you're not giving your inner child's a child, but you're healing them and it makes you a more manly man. Abso-freaking-lutely. Nobody calls you chicken. Okay, cool, man. Yeah, so we don't ignore our emotions. We master them. You know who people who ignore their emotions, you know why they ignore them? Because they're afraid to confront them. Does that sound manly to you? You don't have the courage to face your own trauma. Does that sound manly to you? To me, when you face your emotions and you master them, that requires courage. I have people come to me and I've experienced this myself. They're like, I'm nervous today. I don't want to do this session. You know, I felt that way before. I really didn't want to do it. It takes courage to push through that and do it anyways. Some people think, what if I go down into my core and I look at who I really am and I find out I really am a piece of shit? And that terrifies them. What? No more excuses. No video games, no porn to distract me. None of that. What if I go down and really look at my core, who I am, and I find out this deep suspicion I had that I really am not good enough, I really am worthless, unlovable. What if I go down, look directly at who I am and find out that's true? That can be terrifying. So not everyone who does sessions, probably maybe like 20, 30% feel this, you know, this terror, this fear. But hey, those who do the session anyways, you never find out you're not good enough. You find this wounded, hurt, scared kid in you that wasn't loved, that wasn't given the support he needed, didn't have anyone on his side, felt the world was unsafe. He's worried about being bullied, worried about his dad or his mom just walking on eggshells because if he does the slightest thing wrong, their parents lose their crap and just go into this big anger. And that's terrifying to a little kid. And that trauma gets trapped in you and it's ruining your life. And now you wonder why you live a small life and you have so much anxiety and you're afraid to fail. You're afraid to approach women. You have this approach anxiety. By the way, a little approach anxiety is normal. 3 out of 10, that's normal. That's instinct. Anything over that, especially if you're approaching, you know, a couple girls a week or whatever, if it's greater than 3, 4 out of 10, then there's some messed up stuff we got to fix. And I fix approach anxiety all the time. Really 3 out of 10. If you're approaching women, shouldn't be any higher than that. That's instinct. Anything on top of that is trauma. So master your emotions. Don't ignore them. It takes courage to face what's in you and master it. That's pretty freaking manly. Courage is a trait that I'm not saying women can't have courage, but you know, it's a more manly trait and men tend to have more of it. You see some sort of conflict, the women are going to run away, the men stay and fight. Sorry, ladies, that's how we're biologically, physiologically wired. Again, I'm not saying women can't do that, but it's much more predominant in men. It's a manly trait, courage. So have the courage to face your demons. Find you're not really bad inside, but instead you got a hurt, scared inner child that needs love. It changes everything. Then you get like this big core confidence and strength you didn't even realize you could get. So this is extremely important work, extremely important. Toy says, hi yourself. Welcome to the show. Jalen, thank you for the amazing content. Yep, keep coming back. I got more and I'm changing the world. So that's why I'm doing this. And it's an honor and a pleasure to spread this message to help you guys. And then transactional analysis talks about needing to have permission from your parents to succeed. Yep. You don't want that program in you. You want to be your own boss and just say, hey, my first business I started, I was dead broke. I got to the point where my car got repoed, couldn't pay rent. And this was back I mean, this was like 20 years ago, more. It was actually, yeah, it was around 20 years ago. Started my first real business. No, it was more. It was like 22 years ago. Started my first real business. That business failed. And then when I started my second business in 2003 that succeeded, got me to, again, average about 190,000, almost 200 grand a year on average. The last 5 years I was doing it, and 5, 6. And I started with a fold-up chair, a fold-up table, a computer, didn't have my own car, living with my parents. Got on the internet, did research, went to work, struggled for about 2 years doing that, and then it took off. And then after I cleared my inner world out, the income doubled, and then doubled again. So my dad was kind of against it. They let me do it, but they are kind of against it. But, self-belief, you don't need anyone's permission. Just go out, kick ass the way you see fit. And if you make the wrong choice, guess what? You're going to learn from it. Don't do obviously dumb stuff, but try something out. If it's not the right choice, you learn what not to do. That's actually very, very valuable. But if you're, you don't have this strong core, you don't do the inner child work to get the strong core, many people just too afraid to do that. Because if they fail, they do feel like a failure because they have these bad subconscious programs in them because they didn't heal their inner child. Your inner child is tied to your subconscious because your subconscious developed when you were a child. By age 8, 75% of those programs are in there already. By age 14, 95%. So that's why we call it inner child work. It is integrally tied to healing your subconscious, your core. Would you recommend living in South America for young men? So that is, I'm going to answer that question. I'm in Mexico right now. I'll be in Costa Rica in July. You need to get to a place where you can remote work and make a decent living. I'd say at least 50,000 a year remote work, your own boss, like 50,000 stable. 40,000, 30,000. Could you swing it? Yeah. You want to learn at least some Spanish first. My Spanish ain't that great, but I'm taking lessons, and I studied for about 4 months, and I've already learned another language. I learned Filipino. So, and there's like translator apps, Google Translate. I'm in Mexico City now because it's kind of the softest landing for Latin America. Still want to learn Spanish. It's still incredibly helpful here in Mexico City, but there's some English speakers here. There's a lot of modern convenience here. So start out in Mexico City or a place like that, kind of a soft landing. You want to have some Spanish skills, and you need to understand that you need to consistently study Spanish. And then you need to have a remote work job that provides steady income, I'd say bare minimum 40,000 a year. Because like if you're staying at Airbnbs and stuff, I'm in a very nice Airbnb, but it's 2,300 a month. It's short-term housing, fully furnished. So you have to have a good paying remote work job where you can do it anywhere in the world. You have to have some Spanish skills and do a lot of research beforehand. Make sure it's a nice thing, right thing for you. It's going to be an adjustment. You're the type of person who does this is a self-starter with a certain amount of problem-solving skills. So with that said, if you're a young man in that situation, well, let me tell you, you come here and it's a great adventure. After a while, the cost of living will be lower, and there's some tax benefits as well if you do things right. And the dating here is massively better. Women actually treat you with respect here. In America, in the United States, a lot of American women, not all, but a lot, have a masculine energy, a masculine edge to them. And they're kind of harder to deal with, because they actually want to be equal while having you pay for the first date and dumb shit like that. It's ridiculous. It's stupid, So you don't have to deal with that here. And by the way, if you're a 7 in the United States, sexual market value, come here, you're an 8 or a 9, depending on where you live. If you really want to, I call it a hypergamy arbitrage. Meaning you're a 7 in the US, you go somewhere else, now you're an 8 or a 9 because you happen to be taller than other guys in the area. You're a foreigner. You get points for that, and you make more money. You get points for all of that. Raises your SMB. Now you're all of a sudden, not only are you getting more attractive girls, but the girls you get are more feminine because they're not polluted. Again, I do a show every Friday with an absolutely fantastic, high quality woman who lives in the United States, Teresa Kuhn. She's just a wonderful human being. So I'm not saying there's not good women in the US, but the culture has really made, I mean, and the stats and data are just flat out there. There was an article on CNN about how guys are dating less now. This is on CNN. I mean, it's hit the mainstream. The data cannot be ignored. The United States is one of the worst dating markets in the world. You go to South America and you have your crap together and you can't get a 6 and now you're getting 8s in Latin America. Does that sound like it's worth it to you? It does to me. You know, I'm getting better than 8s too. I'm getting 8s and 9s, you know, even better than 9s here. I've had a couple dates with 10s here, you know. Now I got a lot of leverage because I make 20 times what your average Mexican guy makes. You know, I live in the very nicest part of Mexico City. Everyone knows where I live is one of the nicest parts. It's a big hypergamy play. If you really want to go hardcore on leveraging hypergamy, go to the Philippines because, and again, this is no offense to anyone. I'm just stating facts. The average guy there is 5'4". One of the most attractive traits women like in a man physically is height. So if you're 5'9", you're average in America. You go to the Philippines, you're 5 inches above average. And what do they make? I don't know, $500-600 a month there. You go there, you're working remote, you're making $5,000 a month. It's just that women are going to look at you, points for being a foreigner, 5 inches taller than the average guy, making 10-20 times the money. What type of woman do you think you're going to get? By the way, in like Manila, there's a fair amount of English speaking there. You still want to learn the language there, but there's some English speaking there as well. So if you want to do the biggest hypergamy play, go to the Philippines, but Latin America also excellent choice. You know, in the Philippines, you're on the other side of the world, different time zone. You may be working throughout the night for your daytime clients, depending on what type of remote work you do. So study it out. But to answer your question, I think my choice was an excellent choice. It's just another, I can fly back to the US anytime. It's like a 2.5 hour flight, no big deal. So, you know, I told myself if I don't like it, I'll come back. Well, it was a great choice. So thanks for answering my question. So yeah, you guys put stuff in the chat. I'm going to answer. I'm here to help. So now we're going to play this clip, and that had nothing to do with inner child work. It was important to this guy. What's my mission? Help guys. You know, guys, men, women, whatever. You're a woman on this show. You ask me a question, I'll answer. I'm here to help people. So we're going to play this clip. A guy I did a session for, rocked his world, did one session, absolutely rocked his world. You'll see. You judge for yourself. We're going to talk about inner child work and what it did. And just one session, how it affected him, how it changed him. Let's see here. So in USA, 6 feet in Philippines. So yeah, if you're 6'3", you're going to be an absolute giant in the Philippines, you know. So yeah, it's well, if you're 6 feet in the United States, you're going to be the equivalent of like 6'6" in the Philippines. But trust me, man, you go to I lived in the Philippines for 2 years, and even ugly white guys get lots of female attention. You know, I'm not saying 200 pounds overweight. I don't know, but I knew a guy who was skinny. He was tall. He was 6'1". But he was not an attractive guy at all. Like, he was at best a 5. He was a tall 5, but he was a 5 at best, maybe even a 4. Again, no offense to this guy. He had a very big nose. He's a very geeky, nerdy looking guy. Women loved him there. Women, if you're, again, please understand, I'm not being racist or any of that. I'm just stating facts. I'm stating what the women actually want there. You know, if you're not white, look, I love everyone, but I'm just letting you know what the facts are. So you go there, you're, I think any foreigner, actually black guys, whatever, they know you're a foreigner. So in the Philippines, they're going to like you. If you're taller than 5'4", if you're like 5'6" or taller, you have a height advantage. If you're making more than $600 a month and you live in a nice place, as opposed, I mean, there's literally people living in bamboo huts in dirt floors. There are hot girls. There are hot girls in the Philippines living in bamboo huts with dirt floors. You live in a nice place. I mean, this is how it's what women look for. They want a provider. And if you have 20 times the earning capacity of a Filipino Man, again, I love Filipino men. I was there for 2 years. I love the men. I love the women. I'm just stating facts, so please don't get offended. It's just how it is. You go there with some of these traits, you have a massive advantage in that sexual marketplace. Same thing with Latin America, to a lesser degree in Latin America, but it's still a very pronounced advantage. It really is. So just keeping it real. All right. So let's play this clip. We kind of drag that out a bit, but that's cool. So here's Michael W. This is right after his session. I interviewed him what the session was like, and we're talking largely about inner child work. So here we go. This is what it does. I followed up with him. These were permanent changes. You know, I talked to him, I think a year later, 6 months later, permanent changes. This is great. Here we go. Just going to play this. It's about 14 minutes. I might comment a little, but largely I'll go without commenting. Here we go.
Processing stuff right now. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Just barely finished his session. So my camera is not yet on because we just barely finished his session. And during a session, his eyes closed. So my camera's off. So we just finished your session. How do you feel? Did that surprise you? What's going on?
It was, yeah, I mean, there's really no words. I had to face my inner child, man. And that was the process, as I told, if you don't mind, what I've been trying to work on for 6 months prepping, and this was a journey I needed to go on. So that was a trip. That was really cool.
Did that meet or exceed your expectations? Was it different somehow than you expected, or the same, what you thought it'd be?
I had no expectations. I just can't believe that actually, like, I was able to actually see my inner self, my inner child, you know, and that
you were feeling stuff. You were feeling stuff leaving your body. You were feeling your body vibrate with like positive energy. What was that like?
I actually felt at one point, as I told you, I felt like just like it was like stuffing coming from a bear, and that's the best analogy. It was a trip.
Yeah,
and it wasn't expected to. It just happened. That's what tripped me out.
Awesome. That's amazing, bro.
Man, this will be interesting, as you said. Like, I'm just saying, like the continuance of this feeling right here, you know, because I feel clean. I feel like it's okay. Yeah, everything you said.
Do you feel something has permanently left you? Some trauma has permanently, or does it feel like a temporary high? What's it feel like?
Let me feel it for a minute.
Yeah, see if you can find any trauma. You felt it before. We got it to a 7 pretty easy before, right? Before the session. See if you can find it. Feeling not good enough. Maybe think about a time you got rejected.
No, you know what I gotta tell you, this is what I feel. It feels like a hardwood floor. It feels like a no furniture hardwood floor right now.
Okay,
really,
so
feels clean. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't feel like any weird.
now this is actually something very typical. What he said. When we remove subconscious trauma, before the session, I'll have people think about something to trigger them. You know, we do specific techniques to get them triggered, and they get triggered. They're feeling the painful trauma that's in them. We clear it out with the session, and then after the session, we do the same thing, and they can't feel it. So he's like hardwood floor. A lot of people say it's like a wall. There's something there, and they, you know, kind of like instead of the pain, there's just this wall. He's saying hardwood floor. It's like there's just nothing there. You feel neutral. You like literally feel nothing, except you kind of feel like there's maybe like a wall in place of where the trauma used to be. It's a neutral feeling, but there's a very low level feeling of there's something there that's like just very inert, and the trauma's gone. and that's a permanent effect. And that is where, honestly, it's stuff people have like massively struggled with for decades, just massive pain in them. And they go inside now and they just find like this inert object there. Like they feel nothing, but there's just something like a wall or as he put hardwood floor. It feels like a superpower when you do that. And I had one guy tell me, oh, it is a superpower, man. How did you do that? I've struggled with this for years. Now this is gone forever. I mean, crazy powerful what we're doing. It. That's why I quit I had a high paying job working for myself, working out of my home, could live anywhere in the world, gave it up because this is exactly why. Because this stuff is so powerful. It feels like a superpower when I do it. It's just so freaking powerful. Could go through years of therapy, not get this effect. One session, boom. That very painful. There's other programs to clear, but that one very painful program, gone. It's amazing.
Weird, man. I gotta tell you, it's weird. This is honestly like, it's so simple.
See, and he's tripping out. I still trip out when I see it a little bit, but I've seen it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, and I've done it on myself for dozens of programs.
But it's like, anyways, yeah. Go ahead, man.
Doesn't it blow your mind that like psychiatrists get their PhDs and psychotherapists and they just don't know any of this shit, and it's just so freaking effective? They just don't know it. They study for years, and it's like, hey, solutions over here, guys.
It's weird, dude. The pressure on my chest left a little bit.
By the way, we're going to start throwing a lot of F-bombs around for those of you who don't like it. So just, be aware of that. But here we go.
I don't know. I'm tripping out a little bit.
I want you to see if you can. So before I asked you, you were feeling unworthy, like you didn't deserve things. And we were talking about your mom and your dad and resentment. And before the session, you were connecting to that. You were feeling like a weight on your chest and whatnot, right?
This is how I feel, man. This is exactly. It's so trippy.
Find it now. Yeah, go ahead.
Wow. I understand now. It's almost like the memories are there, but the pressure's off.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. That's how it's supposed to be. And you know what? It's gone forever, bro. It's gone forever. Now there may be other. What's that?
That's a trip. There's no pressure right there. It's like a hardwood floor. Okay.
Yeah.
I know you've seen this before, and I saw it, but I
see it all the time, dude.
What? Okay. Yeah, it is what it is.
It's kind of mind blowing, isn't it?
It's like, yeah, I can see now. Can you do this a little longer? I was just tripping out. It's like the one when you're like cleaning out. When you're doing, like you said, you brush out. I get what you mean now. I didn't get it at the time.
Yeah. And the reason we do that is see our when we dream, that is we have these visual images that come up when we dream, and we hear stuff too. And that's our subconscious mind processing stuff. And that's a language it understands. So when we have these images that are symbolic of cleaning and whatnot, you're literally telling it, we first focus on the trauma. We say, hey, here's this trauma. Here's this program inside of me. We connect to it. And then we tell it in hypnosis, when the subconscious is at the forefront, we tell it, send that away. So we first get rid of the bad. And then what do? We clean it out. Then we go to your inner child. We give it love. We strengthen it. Unconditional, like, hey, man, I'm coming back to you. It's you and me now. We're going to travel this, and I will unconditionally love you. I'm giving you all the love, support, encouragement you need. Then you get the light coming in, and the universe gives you all the love, support, and encouragement. And it's literally telling your subconscious, okay, this old shit that's plagued me all my life, let's get rid of that. Now we're going to put in this amazing shit that's going to empower me to just kick some fucking ass now. And that's exactly
what's so fun.
So that amazing stuff we're talking about, that's the inner child work. That's putting the good stuff in. If you guys heard at the very beginning, we talked about the inner child. So all this, because that's the portion of the session we're talking about here. Inner child work, putting all the good things in, giving your inner child the love, support, validation, guidance he needs that he never got as a kid. This is inner child work right here. And these are the results of doing that.
Funny, just to say, like, what's so funny is this was like the next level, but I was kind of doing the same thing building up to this. And I'm telling you, if I hadn't done, I'm truly, Ryan, for me, my heart to heart, if I hadn't done that, I probably couldn't, because I was so freaked out about doing what we just did, because I knew it was going to.
So I mentioned earlier, it takes courage to go in. He's talking about that right now. Also, the more you do hypnosis, the better you get. And he did some stuff to prepare him to have a really knockout session. So that's true too. Small percentage of guys, we do a session and they're struggling, but if they keep with it, they get more used to being hypnotized, it has more of an effect on them. And so there is something to be said for keeping with doing this. You get better at it. And sometimes it does require courage to go inside. These are two concepts I talked about earlier that you're seeing in this actual case study here.
Going to be intense.
I think that prepped you, bro.
It prepped me.
Stuff you cleared it.
I was talking, and I'm just so intense with us because I was constantly talking to my younger self inside. I swear to God, and I was like, dude, I'm fucking doing this for you from now on. And I literally was talking like that. So when you were saying
in the 6 months before, you mean
doing it for his inner child?
Yeah, I would literally like have kind of a conversation for the first time, and I'd be talking to him. I'd be like, dude, I'm fucking doing this for you. Like, I'm doing this for you from now on, and I hadn't really done that before. So, anyways, no, it's this right here, but it's just trippy that you were right on alignment with what I already was kind of doing. But this is the next level shit.
And see, the blue pill societal ideology is, guys, sacrifice yourselves. You know, put yourself second, man up, be the hero and sacrifice, and then we don't get what they want. And it literally comes from an attitude of they do not care about you. They just want you to sacrifice for them. And this is why Rollo Tomasi says, become your own mental point of origin. Because if you become this nice guy that's trying to people please, you're going to find people walking all over you. Inner child work is about you actually, you know, putting your inner child first and making yourself your own mental point of origin. This is doing that at a deep core level more than anything else. It is making you your own mental point of origin, because if you don't if you don't put yourself first, no one else will. If you had good parents, they would have put you first. Most people didn't get that, at least not perfectly. So as an adult, if you have value, someone should put you first, but no one's going to do it but you. That's why you make yourself your own mental point of origin. It doesn't mean you don't help other people. It means you take care of yourself. And inner child work is like the ultimate form of taking care of yourself. It really is. Make yourself your own mental point of origin. Don't put yourself last. Don't sacrifice your identity or what you want for others, because those others are generally takers, or maybe you're giving it to them. They're not asking. They're either takers, or you're giving stuff to them that they didn't ask for. But you know, that's the nice guy thing. Oh, let me sacrifice for you. Let me give you all this stuff. Then you'll love me. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. You put yourself first. Women want strong men more than, you know, men who are people pleasing, validation seeking. They want strong men.
You prepped yourself to hit a home run.
And without inner child, if you're wounded without inner child work and without making yourself your own mental point of origin and holding frame, then you're not a strong man, bottom line. But it's not just holding frame, mental point. Many men cannot make themselves their own mental point of origin, and they cannot hold frame until they fix their core. Inner child work is extremely core to this.
Yeah, I mean, because that to me is what you said, doing the work. You still got to do that. So I knew I had to. It was going to be something in this, but I didn't know what it was. But
nice.
Yeah, the pressure's off my chest a little bit, man. It's weird. Oh, it's weird.
Yeah, I'm going to give you some audios to listen to. One's called Daily Meditation, Masculine Empowerment. And so you just encountered one key to unlocking the soul, which we did. The next thing you want to understand is that if you get the mindset, like in your core, you get the belief that I am a successful person. That is who I am. I'm meant for greatness, and it's innately in me now. If you get that mindset, then you will do the work and gravitate towards the greatness and achieve that. Watch.
Yeah.
There's a documentary about Mike Tyson. It's just called Tyson. It came out like 10 or 12 years ago. You seen it?
No, I was saying, I'm saying yes. I'm saying,
Watch it.
I agree. Listening.
Watch the first half of it, because Customato, one of the greatest, everyone acknowledges Customato, Mike Tyson's first coach. Everyone acknowledges he is one of the greatest boxing coaches who's ever lived. He hypnotized Mike Tyson. And not only did he hypnotize him, but Mike could only say that he was the greatest ever and a champion.
Wow.
And that's for anyone training with Customato, and Cus trained several champions. He would only let them call themselves champions, because the trick is, if you convince yourself that you're a champion, then you tell that to your subconscious. Our subconscious processes 1,000 times as much info as our conscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get this in your subconscious, that you're a champion, you're a real estate billionaire, whatever, and you feel that at your core, this supercomputer that's 1,000 times stronger than your conscious mind is now going to work for you.
Would you suggest listening to like legitimate subliminal, maybe your stuff like every day? I mean, is that odd?
Yeah,
is that weird?
I have a 20-minute masculine power daily meditation. It's 20 minutes. Listen to it every day.
Cool.
You know?
Okay.
You know, honestly, I do it like 2 or 3 times a week, like some sort of. So you know, I don't do it perfectly, but even if you do it once a week, it's gonna fucking help, because it is reinforcing and reprogramming your subconscious, and that's permanent. So it just builds. It's a cumulative effect.
Well, I'm gonna listen every fucking day until I feel like I don't need it for every day.
Man.
That's cool with you.
Now I know it takes a few days to really kind of notice how you're different. Like you notice now, but as you kind of go through life and live life, you're gonna notice how things.
I'm telling you, I gotta tell you, this is still tripping me out a little bit, because my feet are planted on the ground pretty good. If me, like, remember I said I'm analytical, and I have like a little less pressure on my chest, which is really tripping me out.
Yeah, man. That's because
I can breathe a little bit better.
Well,
So there's a book I did a couple weeks ago about trauma, and there's this book called Your Body Keeps a Score. It was something Vanderkolk, he's a neuroscientist, actually talking about how trauma is stored in your body. What he's describing is trauma stored in his body that is gone in one session, like permanently out of him. And this is powerful stuff, man. That's a permanent trauma release, permanently gone, that was messing him up for decades.
I told you, we have our second brain is a massive.
And for some guys, it's pretty trippy. They're like, what the hell? I feel totally different now. It could be subtle but profound, or it can be more than subtle.
Nerves here, and it processes emotion and holds on to emotion tied to your subconscious.
I had a shit ton, dude. I had a shit ton.
You just fucking rewired it. You fucking rewired it, and that's why it feels different now. Because before you felt that, because these neurons were holding on to this belief and the bad trauma associated with that.
Dude, I have a quick question for you too. And as I said, whenever you need to go, I'm just still tripping me out. I remember when you said once, you said it feels like it's shorter amount of time than it was. Could I tell you how long I think that took?
Yeah. How long?
I think it was about I thought about like 40 minutes.
It was actually about an hour and a half. It wasn't 2 hours. Yeah, you let go.
No, but I'm just curious, because you said it'll feel like it's less.
Yeah.
So exactly, that's true.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say, man. I also said it was simple enough, but then how I feel now is like I feel like it should have been way more complicated, you know. But whatever that means.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, the actual concept is simple. It's like, put you into hypnosis, quiet down this guy so we can work on this where all the trauma's stored. Not all, but
you never hear that. I never even heard of that before. Like no one in the normal world ever even like, it's not like normal, like common knowledge.
Well, yeah, and like, you Google it and you'll see an article written by Johns Hopkins University or Psychology Today or whatever. So they know about it. They know about all this massive neurons here, and that it processes things differently, and your gut instinct comes from here, and a lot of the subconscious emotional stuff is here. Why don't they teach in university how to address this as well as this? They focus on this and they ignore this, even though they know it's there. It's fucking criminal. I'm just like, what the fuck, you fucking morons.
Dude, I feel good inside right now, man. Oh my God.
I mean, I'm not saying that therapists are morons. They just kind of do what they're trained. But the people that are doing the training, it's like, you guys should know better. Come on, guys. But you did great, man.
They really should, man. I shake my head, but whatever.
I feel so fucking cool inside right now.
Nice.
Trip, dude. It's like a fucking weight off my chest. Oh
awesome.
My God.
Scale of 1 to 10. How helpful was this?
Yeah, man. Fucking hey, dude. I don't know what to say, man. I just thank you so much, man. Thanks for you know, I was gonna say this real quickly, man. Now I feel so fucking light right now. Wow. I was like, thank you for
Trauma removed. That's why it feels that way. Gone. Lifelong deep trauma gone. One session.
thank you for doing the work, the pre-work for yourself first, because there's always the pioneer, So I appreciate that.
Thanks.
I just want to say that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I did it on myself, healed myself. Now I help others. It's great.
Yeah, thank you. It's it feels good to hear that. So scale of 1 to 10, how helpful was that?
I mean, I didn't know what to expect. Absolutely a 10. Absolutely 10, man.
Again.
Okay, so that's after that we start talking about stuff that has nothing to do with healing. So we'll stop there. But I want to address something that Jorge had said here. So Jorge, my good friend in Mexico, my weekly taco buddy, Jorge, I don't know if we had tacos next week, so we got to do it this week. Great guy. Also, he's been on my show. He's used self-hypnosis, rocked his world, really helped him up level. Great guy, had the courage to do it. And you say women at horror week, man, they can't help it. That's why they treat them like shit. I used to be one of those weak men that, yeah, some of them I did feel just outright contempt, just snotty remarks, ghosted a lot, flaked on a lot. Women will always ghost and flake to a point, but the amount of ghosting and flaking goes way down after you get this crap out. And back in the United States, I started having success with dating. I'm 49. I started having it around age 45. Age 44 was where I was like, okay, I'm not going to be MGTOW anymore. And then I had to clear out my internal programs with dating with women. Age 45, I started having success. And then I was, 48 when I left the United States. Now I'm 49. By 40, 46, 47, 48, just a lot more success. And here it's just crazy. It's just insane. I mean, if you guys saw the girls I'm dating, that's why the guy earlier asked about go to South America. Well, let me tell you about dating women in South America. I'll tie this back into inner child work. I remember Myron Gaines on Fresh and Fit saying, don't date the 9s and 10s because they're terrible. They're super high maintenance. They're just, they're bratty. They're super selfish, self-centered, entitled, delusional, just all that stuff. There are some 9s and 10s here that are like that. I'd say about half of them are good people. I'd say half of the 9s and 10s here are, I'd say maybe 30% are girlfriend material of the 9s and 10s here. They behave themselves. So, for you guys thinking about becoming password bros, working, yeah, I mean, Myron said, you probably search it. I think it's a clip, a shorter clip. He's like, don't date the 9s and 10s. They're terrible in the United States. In the United States, 95% of them are. And even the 5% who are good still have some entitlement and delusion because it's the culture. It's almost impossible to not get infected with that, especially if you're, I'll just watch a Fresh and Fit video if you want to see more. But, I mean, I'm dating like a 9.5 right now. I'm not kidding. Like when Jorge saw this girl's picture, he said she was a 10 and she almost is. And she's actually a nice girl. You cannot, it is almost impossible. Number one, almost impossible to get that in the United States unless you're a multimillionaire or an NBA player or, an incredibly good looking guy who makes 6 figures. You're not going to get that in the US or it's extremely hard. Yeah, you can get 9s occasionally. I got 9s every once in a blue moon in the United States, but like a 9.5, a 10, almost impossible unless you're like top 3% guy, even then probably more like top 1%. And when you get them, the overwhelming majority are just divas and they're just pains in the butt. And it's like stunningly beautiful on the outside, terrible on the inside. That is 95% plus of the 9.5s, 10s, and most of the 9s, 90% of the 9s in the United States. You come here, 30% are girlfriend material. You can actually find, so when you go overseas or you go to the Philippines or Thailand or any, Latin America, Mexico, Colombia, Costa Rica, wherever, Argentina, they're actually hard to date in Argentina. I don't recommend going there. There's even though it's a very destitute country, there's a lot of bad attitudes with the women there. Sorry, it's true. But most other parts of Latin America, you can find good girls because these girls come from traditional families where they have a dad. Again, not all, some had toxic dads and they're messed up. I've dated girls here who are messed up because they had toxic dads, but a lot of them have good dads, traditional family structure, but also they're humble because they've had to struggle financially. And I tell my clients there's no greatness without adversity. Well, in these countries that are not as wealthy as the United States, there's more of a financial struggle. So these girls, number one is a lot of them know how to cook and clean, not all of them. I'm in Mexico City, so you're going to find the most progressive attitudes here. But like Jorge said, it's about 50% of them here are traditional and 50% are kind of progressive. But even the progressive girls are not nearly, most of them are not nearly anywhere near as obnoxious as the ones in the United States that are progressive. I mean, you'll see a fair amount of tattoos here. You see very little blue here and like just piercings all over. You see very little of that here, almost none of that here. So you can go overseas and get women that are basically don't exist or literally 1 in a million there. If you get a 9 or 10 here, you got to be, at least relative to the sexual market here, you got to be a 9 yourself. You do. But if you're an 8 or a 7 in the US, you come here, you're a 9. You go to Philippines, you're a 9.5. So you can literally get women here that are even if you're successful with women in the United States, even if you're 9 in the United States, you can get women here that you cannot get in the United States. It's just how it is. I'm telling you from experience. I've lived in the Philippines for 2 years. I've lived here for a few months now. You can find girlfriend material, wife material, 9, hard 9, wife material here. Good luck getting that in the United States. Almost impossible. I'm not saying it's impossible, but for most guys, impossible. It's just how it is. It's so much easier here. So why would you even, Myron, super high value guy, super high, clout, etc. He's told you in his video he can't get a well-behaved 9 and 10 there, so he's looking for average or slightly above average when he wants to start a family. You don't have to settle for that here. Going through those comments. Yeah, so Jorge Diaz, he knows the girl I'm dating. He knows, and he's like, she is a 10. Yeah, because she has a degree in nutrition, and she's a personal trainer, and she's also a nice girl, a freaking unicorn, man. But the thing is I hope she doesn't watch this show. I'm dating 3 other girls too. So, so anyways, and they're all like very attractive. So yeah, but she's a great girl. And who knows where it goes? We're just dating right now. Who knows? Yeah, well, it's not uncommon. And I help, I specialize in helping men, but if a woman comes to me wants a session, I'll help men and women. I do sessions. I probably do 1 session a month for a woman, and it works the same for them. It's great. I want to help everyone. Eventually, I'm not just going to be intermasculine. I'm just going to be helping everyone, and it won't be that long, maybe a year or 2. But I'll probably, men and women are different, and the reason guys don't go to psychotherapists is the psychotherapy profession in the United States, the mental health profession in general. And again, I'm not a licensed practitioner. I just work on belief systems. I don't I don't diagnose and cure maladies or anything like that. There's my disclaimer. You saw my disclaimer at the beginning. But men and women are different. A lot of guys don't go to traditional talk therapy, etc. Number one, it's less effective. Number one, it's geared towards the feminine mindset. It just flat out is. There's this American Psychology Association, something like that. I forgot their name, but they literally said traditional masculinity is harmful. Does that sound like female centric or male centric? No, obviously female centric. So I specialize helping men because no one's focused on helping them in this way. And that's why they won't go to therapy. They don't want someone treating them like a woman. They want to be treated like a man. That's why we do it. That's why I'm doing intermasculine. It's specialization is necessary here. But I also help women, and eventually I want to help everyone, period. I love women. I think women are fantastic. I think the biggest problem, some people in the United States tend to get a little misogynistic. It's not women. It's the terrible societal attitudes that are poisoning the psyche of women and men in the United States. But it's subconscious. It's bad subconscious programs are being put in mass into people in the United States. You come here and women are just like, wow, this woman's nice to me. She's like, doesn't have a chip on her shoulder. She's treating me with a certain level of respect that's a step above what you generally see in the United States. It's subtle, but it's definitely real. So, yeah, well, thank you, Jalen. You know, we're here to help. So, next one, Ryan. Is it safe in Mexico or Mexico City on your experience? Keep hearing bad things about the cartels. Okay, so the cartel in Sinaloa is like over 1,000 miles away from me. There are parts of Mexico you don't want to go to. There are parts that are dangerous. There are parts of Mexico City you don't want to go to. But if you go to, there are parts of Mexico City very safe. Jorge Diaz, my friend, lived in Monterrey. I've been to Monterrey. Most of Monterrey is very safe. It has about the same crime level as Dallas. I actually looked up the crime statistics. There's some things are a little higher, some a little lower, more or less like Dallas. That's Monterrey. Like Tijuana, the most violent city in the world. Well, guess what? The northern part where all the tourists go, pretty safe. You know, it's the outskirts where there's drug wars. You don't want to be there. So there's good and bad parts of Tijuana, which has like the highest murder rate in the world. Mexico City, by and large, the nicest parts. Polanco, I'm in Alto Polanco on the north end of it. Condesa, Roma Norte, which is, there's a lot of partying there, but it's safe. There's a lot of cops there, and I've never felt unsafe. So just do your research. I think Loma Linda's good. Anahuac's good. Whatever's just to the west of Anahuac, I forgot its name. There's a lot of Mexico City very safe. But, you know, I'm not saying perfectly safe. You know, I guess you can get mugged anywhere. But honestly, I see cops everywhere where I'm at. So you'd be an idiot to try and mug someone, you know, where I'm at. So, yeah, do your research. Now, I wanted to go to Colombia, but and Colombia used to be safe. But because honestly, it's a big hypergamy play here. It's an even bigger one in Colombia with dating. But I'm not going to go to Colombia because the Venezuela mafia has moved in and is specifically targeting foreigners now. So, you know, do the research. I'm going to be in Costa Rica next. Costa Rica is safe, more or less. You know, nothing's 100% safe, but more or less relatively safe. Not really, you know, there's parts of the United States you don't want to go. You don't want to go to certain parts of LA. You don't want to go to many parts of Chicago, Detroit, etc. Where I'm at is way safer than many parts of LA, Detroit, way safer than there. Even where I'm at is safer than certain parts of Dallas. So here's Jorge, Polanco, Condesa, Roma Norte. Yeah, they're all great. You know, Jorge lives 2 blocks away from me. We're totally safe. It's great. So that's more or less our show. Maybe, you know, if you guys, if I get enough requests, I'll do a show on what it's like in Latin America. You know, more on that. I gave a pretty good rundown today, though. But the thing is, inner child work, it gets your core strong. You gotta specifically target trauma, remove them. Inner child work does not remove trauma, but it puts in all the stuff you didn't get as a kid. You get the bad abusive stuff out, and then you put in the good stuff you didn't get as a kid. For those of us who are traumatized, inner child work does that. So it's really half. There's 2 big parts to what I do. There's actually a lot more than that, but there's 2 things I always do, and third one's called Gestalt, but I pretty much every session, I'm going to remove trauma. There's a regression to cause. I do it a special way. And then inner child work. That's like the main 2 that need to be in every session. So, and it makes you just strong. It makes you rock solid, and it makes you it just puts you in such a better place. You don't need others' love if you give it to yourself. That's what you're doing to these hurt parts of you that developed as you were a child, now stuck in your psyche. So that's inner child work. Let's see, one more comment. Wish everyone in my... Yeah, you're very welcome. I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't massively wounded and then healed myself. So all of you guys who suffer, there's actually silver lining to the suffering. On the other side of suffering is wisdom. I went through the shit. I got the wisdom. Now I'm helping you guys. It's my honor and pleasure. And thank you for that very nice compliment. So that's the show for today. More coming tomorrow, Tuesday through Saturday I'm on. Unless sometimes something big happens with work, like I'm filming in a studio and I won't have a show. But otherwise, I'm here Tuesday through Saturday about this time. So inner child work is huge. Thanks for watching. That's our show for today. And just remember, guys, you know, sometimes we don't have the knowledge we need to unlock our power. That's why I'm here. I'm giving you guys the knowledge. But the truth is, once you get that knowledge, you're going to find out you really have more power than you know. Thank you.